pomegranate tree. There's no flowers. So I don't think there's a bloom on it yet. We'll see. Or fruit. You know what a pomegranate looks like? You have two at home, so you know what that pomegranate tree looks like.
Jack, they're very apparently a cultural symbol or something, a pop symbol, because I see little vases and things
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, we're gonna help decode that for you, Mary Ellen. So it's interesting to me that when we look at the fruit products, that remember when the 12 explorers went into the land in advance of everybody else and collected evidence? They collect grapes and pomegranates. What time of year would it be? Fall. Because that's when those mature.
Yeah.
They didn't bring in barley and wheat because those were in hiatus. We're off that season. So it's interesting to me in that way. But it was evidence of the richness of the land. Unfortunately, the majority of those 10 of the 12, with the exception of Joshua and Caleb, were using this bounty of the land to demonstrate that the land was full, well fortified, and impossible to go into. That was Numbers 13 when they were first turned back from entering Promised Land. So the fruit plays a role in that. But in the culture of the biblical world, most of Judah's hill country is not going to have a population serviced primarily by spring water, but by cistern water. So they've dug an underground chamber, they've sealed it with plaster, and then they've directed runoff water from the terrain into it so that they have a water supply to take advantage of. During the 5 months it doesn't rain, that water supply is getting more stale and skanky by the week. And by fall, before it's refreshed with new moisture, wow, you're looking for something other than cistern water to drink. And it's just that time that the pomegranate tree comes into maturity, and pomegranate juice, you get that refreshing taste. So the idea of pomegranate juice, it carries that really positive connotation because it's like, oh, it's the alternative to the cistern water that we're just so tired of drinking. So very positive connotation. Then what's interesting is if you look at the artwork in the temple and you look at the garment of the high priest, you'll see that it is embellished with pomegranates. Lots and lots and lots of them. And so what is there about that piece of art that functions in that religious context? The rabbis have a solution, and I don't have a better one, and I think it goes to your question, Mary Ellen. So the rabbis, post 70 AD, temple destruction, now we've redefined what it means to be Jewish, in the sense that it's less about going to the worship center in Jerusalem because it's destroyed, and more about living out our Jewish identity by obeying the 613 mitzvot, the commands that the rabbis identified in the Hebrew Bible, Old Testament. Rabbis cut open a pomegranate, counted the seeds, and ended up with 613. Is that true? I don't know, but that is the tradition and that is the status, 613 seeds, and so the pomegranate becomes a symbol of the 613 directives, mitzvot, that the Lord gave Israel, and they become part of that identity. So, on the Torah scrolls that you see in Jerusalem, you'll see often pomegranates on the spindles. That's the reason for that. You'll see pomegranates in lots of other contemporary artwork. Is it possible that this is a very old understanding and that the occurrence of so many pomegranates in the artwork of the temple and in the garments of the high priest have a relationship to that? Best explanation I have. There might be a better one, but for the moment, I think it's a very interesting explanation. So 7 species of the land, 3 within almost arm's reach of one another here. The olive tree, the fig tree, and just beyond the fan palm, the pomegranate. All the yellow